Hello folks, this is Steve AB4EL. I was making an episode earlier kind of related to this, and during that I mentioned something that I do periodically to check my computers, which is what I'm going to show you now. Because I just finished in the last half hour checking 10 Windows 10 computers, checking 10 different Windows 10 computers. All right, now, this particular article in slashdot.org, I'm not promoting anything, I'm not recommending, you know, this is one of my tabs, News for Nerds. The headline here is Windows 11's big 2024 update leaves behind 9 gigabytes of undeletable files. The Windows 11 24H2 update has had a host of issues associated with including disappearing mouse cursors and blue screens related to Intel drivers. Now comes the word that the new update leaves behind over 8 gigabytes of undeletable cache files. According to another article, now, it says that when you try to use the control panel, which has the facility to go and look into the cache and identify its files and delete them, it says it's doing it, but it doesn't. That's what they mean by undeletable. Various other methods to remove the Windows Update cache failed also. It only cleared after doing a clean Windows installation. What does that mean? When you do, for instance, you're on Windows 10 and you want to upgrade to Windows 11, you can do the upgrade and specify don't touch my files. And all it changes is the system files. Got it? A clean install is that it wipes out everything, formats, and does just the actual, and everything that you had is gone. That's a clean install. Apparently that's the only way, according to them. Now hang on. So it was in this article that they were summarizing, PC World, but PC World author got it from somewhere else. According to Windows latest, attempts to delete the cache via the control panel are unsuccessful. So here's the actual original article, which is far more technical than the one on PC World or this brief little thing here. And it's by a guy that's pretty smart and whatever. So it got me to thinking. Now I'm on Windows 10. When I read this article, it mentioned a specific KB5043080. Microsoft uses KB numbers to specify things that have been fixed. And you can do a search on it, and the search engines know that KB5043080, KB plus 7 numbers, has something to do with Microsoft support, September 10th, 2024. And when I track this down, it has to do with, you must install this first. Now watch what I do. Catalog. See, I got the article that describes what it is. Cumulative update for Windows 11 version. So why did it show it to me in, it's showing it to me in what? Spanish. Why did it give me the Spanish one? Cumulative update for Microsoft Server Operating System. They do it for the various flavors of cumulative update for Windows 11 version 24H2 on ARM based. And then the last one is the cumulative, this KB5043080 for 24H2, cumulative update for Windows 11 version 24H2 X4, which is 64-bit based Intel instruction set CPUs. And I had heard of this when I was doing my upgrades, monthly upgrades for my Windows 10 computers. And this has to do with what's known as the servicing stack, which is special code that knows how to do and what to overwrite and what to remove for the new monthly updates. Servicing stack, which can change depending on new needs. And now I'm relieved to see that it only applied to Windows 11 and not to my Windows 10s. Now I'm going through this for a reason. Because then I was, in talking about it, I decided, you know, I ought to check all my computers. And what you do is it's System File Checker, SFC. Now it's St. Francis College, but if you just hit enter, the first thing that you will be presented with is an article from Microsoft Support. I'm saying it this way so you can do it too. Use the System File Checker tool for repairing missing or corrupted system files for Windows 8.1, Windows 8, Well, it also works for Windows 10. And my understanding is this may not be the way you do it in Windows 11, that it may be a new approach tool. So what this gives you how to do it, and it's 2 steps. The first step is dism.exe, and you do it exactly the way it is here. You have to be administrator level privilege. If you just do it like a regular user, it'll say you don't have the privilege. First you run this. When you run this command, dism uses Windows Update, so that means you have to have a connection to the internet. to provide the files that are required to fix corruptions. But then he goes into details if for some reason you're running this but in like a certain protected mode, safe mode, and you can't get out to the internet, you have to have a whole set of real files somewhere and you specify where. You would get them from what's known as an ISO, Windows Update or Windows version ISO. So I ran this, and it takes a while, and then on all 10 machines it came back, finished 100%, everything's okay. But this is the preparatory step. The real one is SFC. System File Checker. SFC space slash SCANNOW. Scan now. And they give you an example of a good, you run it, and it says begin system scan. This process will take some time, beginning the verification phase of the system scan, and they took this screenshot, verification 95% complete. Now, I can tell you that running it on my machines here, it took less than 5 minutes. And why am I making this video and going through all of this? Here's my screenshot that was the same on all 10 machines. The first part is Deployment Image Servicing and Management, DISM. I ran it just the way they said, and it ran 100%. The restore operation completed successfully. The operation completed successfully. And then here's the second step, SFC/scan now. And it said, beginning the verification phase of the system scan, verification 100%, and now what's the final message? Windows Resource Protection found corrupt files and successfully repaired them. On all 10 computers. I did the September updates 2 weeks ago. How did all of my computers get some of their one or more system files corrupted in the meantime? Especially the ones where don't go out to the internet, don't interact with anything. I just use them for doing my video preparation. Workhorses. How did they all get corrupted? It's easy. Microsoft corrupted them. What it discovered here in this scan is that some of the update, one or more of the update files from 2 weeks ago, the Patch Tuesday, Patch Tuesday was Tuesday this week. I wait 2 weeks before I do my system updates using that, so that they can fix the bullshit and the shit that they do. Well, I guess they didn't get all of it. You understand? You want to know how good Microsoft is? They do this stuff every month. They drop shit on everybody. And there's only a few billion people using the operating system. Oh, they're so careful. Oh, my goodness, thorough testing. We have geniuses working for us. Pardon me for raising my voice. I checked 10 computers and they all... Now, of course, I have to give you a frame of reference. Periodically, I do these two steps. Once in a while, I have found one of my computers where it announced that it found a corrupt file or two and fixed it. But for all of my computers, 2 weeks after having done the system updates with no message of any problems, Microsoft corrupted it. Microsoft corrupted it. Now you think you don't know what you're talking about. The article that this eventually refers to has something interesting in it. Now this has to do with Windows 11, and it refers to this month's, October's, updates for the Windows 11 new version 24H2 version. Instead of building updates from the original release version, Windows 11 will now use a more recent checkpoint as the starting point. As a result, updates will be smaller in size. You see, when you do, like my Windows 10, the wording, there it is. The wording is cumulative update. Cumulative update. The last time you updated your Windows 10 might have been last June, and you just thought now, several cycles of updates later, to do it again instead of having done it every month. And this cumulative update doesn't trip on it, supposedly. That it has all the in-between ones and recognizes it and puts them in for you, which you should have done each month. You following? But now, with Windows 11, Shazam, wait a minute, where's that article? They're taking a new way. They're checking to see when you last updated, and they'll do the updates if you are current enough. Or I assume they'll have to fall back. And what it means is, especially for big industrial users that literally have to update 10,000 computers, like, say, AWS, or even Microsoft itself, that has thousands of CPUs running. YouTube, insurance companies, banks, okay? All those individual computers on people's desks. It all takes time, network time, da-da-da-da-da. Instead of building updates from original release, Windows 11 will now use a more recent checkpoint as a starting point, provided that you had reached it. As a result, the updates will be smaller in size and faster to install. So the new version ships with the checkpoint updates feature, but this change has caused an issue where a large undeletable 8.63 gigabyte update cache appears, which is what the original thing was about. See, this guy's explaining it in real depth. This happens because components from the current checkpoint update like September's KB504380 are flagged as necessary for future updates. It's the checkpoint. That's my conclusion. What they put there that you can't delete is the copy on your machine of the last valid checkpoint. They're not going to trust some entry in they're going to have put the real thing there and they can interrogate it. So if you delete it, depending on the design of the system, it may be chaos for you when you then try to do the monthly updates on Patch Tuesday again next month. Are flagged as necessary for future updates so they cannot be removed during cleanup. You see, when they do the installations, they download a lot of stuff, and if it's pretty extensive or your computer's slow, if you were watching it, it tells you not to turn the computer off, and one of the screens you may see is we're cleaning up. It actually says that and shows you the progress. It depends on the size of the update. If it only takes 10 seconds, they skip showing you that scene. But if it's going to take 2 minutes, they want you to know what's going on. So this author says we do not recommend removing these components because they could break future Windows updates. You see how changing the design, presumably for efficiency, leaves things around that, based on past experience with the Windows update system, looks like they screwed up and there's trash in there, and why won't it clean up? But this guy dug in and says it has to be there under the new system. And he goes on to say it looks like they're not really taking up that much space, but for some reason, I think that what they're doing is that it's a way of reserving a certain amount of workspace they need. So this kind of stuff going on made me think Microsoft's in some kind of transition now, and I've had experience with this kind of stuff, professionally speaking, and sometimes there's side effects. Having read this about the Windows 11, which I do not have, and remembering a note about the need to put the new service stack on first, but I didn't know that it didn't apply to Windows 10, and when I did the September updates, I didn't see it say that it had done that first, and I actually went searching, worried that something had gone wrong. But there was no indication after the updates were finished. When I looked to see what it said it did, there was no indication that anything went wrong 2.5 weeks ago. But something did go wrong. Something did go wrong. And it probably had to do with the need for an update to the servicing stack, even on Windows 10, which they didn't run. Microsoft update, Windows update, Windows 10 update. There it is. It wasn't bad enough for me to see any actual side effects in the use of my computer, but this evening, after reading all these other things and deciding to run these two tools, which you can do, they're free, they are recommended periodically. Every one of the computers that I updated 2.5 weeks ago in September with the Windows updates, corrupted. There's something corrupted in the system files. Thank you, Microsoft. Got it? Pardon me for going on. I'll repeat again. If you want to do it yourself, just to be sure, you go to a search engine, you put in SFC, System File Checker. You don't pay any attention to it saying St. Francis College, you just hit enter. And the first article that Google Search will present is Microsoft support use the System File Checker tool to repair missing or corrupted. Steve A. before you. Senile old genius saying see you in 73. Well, folks, I said there might be an addendum, and here it is. It's a while later. This is what we were talking about as the kickoff. I was able to conveniently retest 7 of the 10 machines. So when I reran the 2 steps, 5 of the 7 said 100% integrity. But this machine I'm recording with, and another one that I usually do the uploads from, in other words, my 2 busiest of the 10, both said on retest, Windows Resource Protection found corrupt files and successfully repaired them, making a liar out of itself from the previous round. 2 of the 7 did that. Yes, I ran the sequence again on both of them. And finally, both of them fessed up and said, oh! The operation, it says beginning verification phase of system scan, verification 100% complete, Windows Resource Protection did not find any integrity violations. You know, all this Windows stuff is so reliable. You get what you pay for. Oh! Steve, that's the final report. I was able to retest 7 machines. 5 immediately on retest said clean. 2 said not clean, had to do it again. And then those 2 said clean. Actually, that taught me something that I will always have to recheck Windows. Oh, is that a surprise? Steve A. before you, as I said, senile genius, saying see you in 73.